Welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last video, then you saw that I have a lot of work to do on this Jeep after taking on a very easy trail ride, which it held up fine, it did great, but a lot more broke on it than I thought should. So the first thing we've got to do is replace the gas tank skid plate. There's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do this. This is not going to be the end all be all of it, but I did find some interesting stuff on this Jeep that y'all might find interesting. Hopefully you don't run into, but you might. So let's take a look at it. So I haven't jacked anything up. I haven't taken any tires off. I'm just still looking. I noticed when I went to test to see what size these bolts were, they are 13. And there should be another one sticking out right here and right here for the gas tank strap. They're not there, which means two things. Number one, this tank has been dropped before, probably to do a fuel pump or something in the past. But number two, they didn't put the straps back on it, which means my gas tank is bouncing around. So I did not buy straps because I didn't think I needed straps, and I've already got my gas tank skid and I'm ready to do this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm not putting the straps back on right now, but I did order some. They're on the way. I'll just have to drop it again. The first thing I did was I brushed off all these bolts right here, these studs, to make sure that these nuts will come off easily. I don't have any PB blaster currently, so that did work fine. Of course, this being removed before really helped. Here's the skid I'm replacing it with. The bolts all should line up in the same place. So you can see I removed these 4, and now I'll remove these 2 and this one. I want to do the same thing. I'm just going to use an extension with a 13 millimeter and see if those bolts come off pretty easily. I'm not sure if you can see up in there, but there's a bolt right here, and there's a nut right here and a nut right here. This one loosened up. This one I can't get to because the track bar is in the way, so I'm gonna have to use a wrench on it. Now I'm just loosening these. I'm not taking them all the way. Oh, I should be wearing glasses. I'm not taking them all the way out. So here's a good look at my gas tank skid. It is seen better days. That hole is new. That happened on the trail. This hole I think's been there for a minute. All right, so underneath your gas cap, and as you can see, I have a locking gas cap that doesn't exactly work. That's okay. You take these 4 screws out and your filler hose will drop, or will be able to drop. I'm gonna go ahead and take these 4 screws out to take this bezel loose as well, so I can kind of see down in there and see if there's anything else I need to be concerned with. Now that I can see down in there, I can see that my vent hose for the rear axle is hooked up here. And what else I can see is that it is torn completely in half about halfway down there, which means that is why my axle breather tube was puking all over my rear end. It is ready to drop, kind of. I still don't have the hoses disconnected. One of my hoses, someone has worked on this before, and I think I know why. One of my hoses is just pushed up on, I guess the return line or the vent line, is just pushed up on the hard line. And then of course one of them, the feed line, actually has a quick connect. That quick connect is obviously old and brittle. It broke, but I haven't been able to get the needed leverage on it to get it pulled loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower it a little bit so I can possibly get my hands up in there a little bit better. All right, we're gonna go slow and we're gonna look. Success. All right, guys, I'll show you in a minute what I was dealing with, but here's the return line or the vapor line or whatever you want to call this. I'm not really sure what it is. I guess it's the return line. But you can see how corroded it was. I did get the hose off, but it broke. So I'm going to have to figure out how to solve that equation. But I did get the push connector disconnected. I'll show you that after I get the tank dropped. This Jeep 99 should not have an evap system on the passenger side, so I should just be able to drop the tank now. Okay. There we go. The only thing keeping it from coming on out is that it's resting on the cover of the rear axle. This 8.8 sticks out a little bit further in the rear, and I do have it pushed back about 1 inch. All right, guys, there she is in all of her disgusting glory. I've got a lot of cleaning to do. Okay, so here's the push style clip I was telling you about. Looks like that right there. It is different than most of them that you see on YouTube because most of them on YouTube are showing you 2001, 2002 and up, and they have a style that pushes on the side and opens up like this. This one has two clips that push in and pulls out. This is the vent line I was telling you about that broke. I think I can just get a longer piece of fuel hose and pull it off this T right here and then connect to the other vent line with a small clamp. So one more thing that I noticed, I didn't realize it. I thought it was some kind of option for it to have this plastic sheet right here. I think what it is this thing is so rotten that whoever took this down before put this piece of plastic on there just to guard from the corrosion. So that is exactly what happened. They put this tape down. Oh my God, look at that. Whoever had this Jeep before me, before my dad actually, before I bought it from him, are huge assholes. They literally duct taped massive rust holes up and found a piece of plastic to wrap around there and screw in. I have never seen anything like that. Look at this, my gas tank was just ready to fall out. Oh no, jeez, that is terrible. This Jeep has been in the South for the last 10 years and it's still this bad. Once that cancer starts, it don't stop. I sure do like the way that rear end looks without a tank there. Actually, it is amazing what just a little bit of cleaning will do. The tank looks a lot better. It's in its new skid plate. You can see I do still have some other issues to address. The grounding strap is broke. That's got a little corrosion on it. The breather tube for my axle is ripped in half. I'll have to replace that. So let's look at the beauty that was my old skid plate. So this is the lightweight model. If you were working on a black Jeep somewhere in the Northeast about 15 years ago, and this is your handiwork, you're just the worst kind of mechanic. So you can see it looks like they cut out some rust there and thought that, okay, well, I'll just patch that, and then realized, oh, well, you can't patch that. So here's what they did. They got them a piece of plastic. Yes, a piece of plastic, and screwed it in with some metal tapping screws. Oh, well, I mean, now, one thing they did do was before they put the plastic on, they put duct tape down. So, I mean, hey, it's had to work, right? All right, boys, it's time to go back up. The electrical connector fell down into a place that I could not reach. So I've got to take the whole thing back down. All three connectors back in place. Three more nuts to put on, and I'll tighten everything into place. All right, so serious question before I end the video. Very much debating putting a fuel cell in the Jeep and getting rid of the gas tank altogether. I put the new gas tank back in just to get the Jeep back on the road, but looking at it, I really like the look of the rear end without that gas tank there, and I like the idea that I can move the axle back if I wanted to. I don't like the fact that most aftermarket fuel cells require you to fill up the tank from inside the vehicle as opposed to an outside fuel filler hose. What I'd like to do is recess a fuel cell down into the body to where it still hangs down below the floor pan by 6 inches or so. It'll be well up above the bumper height, but it will still have room to run a fuel filler out to the stock fuel filler location. Moto-Built is the only company I've found that has a fuel cell that's designed for the TJ. I know RCIs, they have one that will fit well, but you have to do some modifications. Moto-Built has a fairly inexpensive one that will hook up more or less without a lot of fabrication. Of course, they say it will not fit between the frame rails, but it does fit between the frame rails. It's just that there's a cross member back there you'd have to cut out that the shocks hook to. So I'd have to relocate my shocks some way, and I don't know if I want to put that much into it. Of course, if I am going to move the axle back, I'll have to relocate my shocks anyway, so I don't know. I'm just not sure. If you go to relocate your shocks, a lot of times you want to outboard those shocks, and then you have to do away with the coil springs, and you really need to get coilovers at that point. That is way farther than I'm going to be taking this Jeep, and that is way outside my price range. So y'all tell me what you think I should do, understanding those limitations. All right, guys, there you have it. That is the gas tank replacement on a 97 to, I don't know, 2000 model, maybe 99 model Jeep TJ. So I didn't have the evap system because mine's a little bit older TJ, so that made it a little bit easier, and I had a little bit different type of connectors than what you typically see on the later model Jeeps. Obviously, the corrosion played a huge factor. You saw the rise and fall of the Bluetooth skid plate, and that was shocking, to say the least, when I pulled that down. So hopefully this helps you out if you have a little bit older TJ. I noticed most of the other videos are all about the 2002 and up, or 2001 and up TJs. If you have a little bit older one, it's a little bit different, but not too bad. So hopefully this helps out. If the video did help, then please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Have a great day.